And isn't the best acting always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic. Ditto Shia LaBeouf as Shaft. Why don't we just go by merit and let the best actor win? Which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro.
Bill Maher opens by challenging the modern obsession with identity in acting, arguing that the essence of performance is to make audiences feel shared humanity beyond race or gender. He mocks the double standard in Hollywood by comparing diverse examples, like a black George Washington in Hamilton being praised, but a white actor playing a black figure being condemned. His point is that art should transcend labels, not be confined by them. Maher's humor exposes the hypocrisy of selective outrage, where representation is celebrated only when it fits a preferred narrative. At its core, he's asking a simple question: shouldn't acting be about talent and transformation rather than political correctness? His tone blends satire with genuine frustration toward the growing rigidity of identity-based casting norms.
Have to stop listening to the casting police and go back to doing their job, which is picking the best actor for the role. Now, I mention this because a lot of people lately are either apologizing for or calling on others to apologize for playing roles they call appropriation. James Franco was just chosen to play Fidel Castro, and John Leguizamo posted, "No more appropriation. Boycott. This f***ed up. I don't got a problem with Franco, but he ain't Latino." Okay, but John Leguizamo is Colombian American. He ain't a Venetian, but he played one.
Maher turns his focus to casting directors, accusing them of bowing to casting police instead of prioritizing merit. He references controversies like James Franco being criticized for playing Fidel Castro and John Leguizamo's call for boycotts, pointing out the irony in Leguizamo's own history of playing non-Latino roles. Maher uses this contradiction to expose a culture that selectively enforces outrage. His argument highlights how art has been hijacked by activists who weaponize representation for personal validation rather than artistic integrity. The tone is biting yet analytical, dissecting how Hollywood's fear of backlash has replaced creative courage with conformity. Maher's larger message is that true diversity in art comes from freedom, not restriction.
Ain't a French little person or an Italian plumber, but he played them too because he's an actor. Why the hell do you think people become actors? Because they want to spend their life not being who they are.
Here, Maher deepens his critique of hypocrisy within the entertainment industry. He argues that many who cry appropriation only do so when it benefits them politically or socially. The outrage, he suggests, is less about justice and more about power and attention. He reminds viewers that acting has always involved transformation, becoming someone you are not. When Leguizamo condemns Franco for playing Castro, Maher sees it as a betrayal of artistic freedom itself. This section captures his core philosophy. Art thrives when boundaries are crossed. The commentary underlines how moral gatekeeping turns art into self-promotion and divides audiences rather than uniting them.
Sin until you remember that's what acting is. That's why acting jobs are called roles. Sean Penn won an Oscar for playing gay civil rights martyr Harvey Milk. At the time, it was considered a courageous act of solidarity for a straight male movie star to play a homosexual. Now it's the opposite. Eddie Redmayne played a transgender woman in The Danish Girl, but now calls that a mistake because many people don't have a chair at the table. Well, actually, in movies now they do. And what does it have to do with you playing trans? Does it then work the other way? Can trans actors only play trans characters? Because that's not going to...
Maher points to how recent actors have been pressured into apologizing for taking certain roles. He defends Eddie Redmayne's portrayal of a transgender woman in The Danish Girl, emphasizing that a performance was an act of empathy, not exploitation. By questioning the logic of restricting roles only to people who share the same identity, Maher exposes how this ideology ironically harms minority actors by limiting their opportunities. His tone mixes reason and satire, pushing back against emotional arguments with sharp logic. The section's heart is about preserving the universality of art, the freedom to imagine, empathize, and express beyond one's own skin.
Being always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic. Why don't we just go by merit and let the best actor win? Which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro and James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in.
Maher revisits the contradictions in representation politics, celebrating minority actors taking white roles while condemning the reverse. He argues that fairness cannot be situational. It must be consistent. Using examples like Ana de Armas playing Marilyn Monroe, he questions whether talent still matters in Hollywood. The commentary underscores how identity politics has turned creativity into a moral battleground. Instead of progress, Maher sees regression disguised as inclusivity. His argument insists that artistic freedom must apply universally, or not at all. The message is clear. Art that prioritizes appearance over ability loses its integrity and emotional truth.
And James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in their lane? Lawrence of Arabia was gay. Peter O'Toole wasn't. I can live with that. Because he was so cool, he almost made me gay. Emma Stone caught hell for playing a Hawaiian, Jake Gyllenhaal for playing a Persian, Gal Gadot for wanting to play Cleopatra, Johnny Depp for playing an Indian, even though he's not an actual Comanche, and spoiler alert, he also doesn't really have scissor hands.
Maher humorously lists absurd examples. Actors criticized for playing characters outside their race or background, from Emma Stone's Hawaiian character to Johnny Depp's Comanche role. His sarcasm underscores the absurdity of applying moral purity tests to fiction. He argues that acting, by definition, is pretending, not matching personal identity to character identity. The commentary stresses how overzealous cultural policing suffocates creativity. By reducing art to politics, Hollywood risks losing its power to inspire or surprise. Maher's tone is comedic but carries a real warning. If artists fear offense more than failure, art itself becomes lifeless.